Welcome to Atlas Leadership Academy, where our goal is to offer world-class leadership to influence worldwide change. My name is MaryAnne Owen. I am the Executive Vice President for Atlas Leadership Academy and the Director of Marketing and Branding at Atlas Realty Group. Joining me is William King. He is a PhD candidate in business leadership and the CEO of Atlas Realty Group. Additionally, he is a Maxwell Leadership Facilitator, coach, and speaker. And today we will be discussing intentional leadership for aspiring leaders. And I think this is a really, really great topic because a lot of times people don't really understand the difference it'll make in their business and in their leadership if they do it with some more intention.
I totally agree with that because the absolute driving force of any aspiring entrepreneur is to become successful.
Right.
And we know that's not going to happen, number one, without us being intentional about it.
Correct.
We can't allow it to just happen. We have to put forth certain actions and get the right people in order to drive that force and that goal and making it happen. We have to be intentional about it.
Exactly. So we're going to break it down for you guys. So we're going to talk about what it means to be an intentional leader and what is intentional leadership. So first thing, what is intentional leadership? Intentional leaders are those who are clear about their goals and their purposes, right?
So let me get this straight before you continue.
Sure.
Intentional leadership is leadership when you're clear about your goals and your purpose. So if you're not really clear about it, you're saying it's just not intentional? If you're having like some confusion or fuzziness about it?
Absolutely. So here's the thing here's an example. Somebody gets into business because they want to make a lot of money.
Sure.
All right. Everybody wants to make money, right? Yeah. But how are you going to do that? What are the steps? How do you break it down? How do you say, okay, by December, I want to have $50,000 in cash flow. Well, how do you reverse engineer that in order to hit your goal, right? It's not just throwing a goal out there and hoping you hit it. There's actually a process in order to hit certain goals and things like that, but you have to do it with intention.
Right. So, but also, what I'm saying is, or what I think you're saying is, goal planning can make you successful if you hit those goals. Mm-hmm. But however, you can't just set goals and expect them to just happen. You have to be intentional about making those goals happen.
Exactly. Yes.
And being intentional requires a level of understanding and knowledge to knowing how to break down the goals.
Break down the goal and put in a system. Yes.
And that system often involves people.
Correct.
Which requires you to be an actual leader.
Yes.
And there the intentionality comes into play.
Correct.
Now I got it.
We're there.
Boom, we're there. All right.
Okay, so let's see. Tim Herbert defines intentional leadership as clear, aligned, compassionate guidance delivered with strong core ideology. So this is what we're giving to our people, in order to help them see the intention in reaching our goals, right?
What I like about what Tim Herbert said is the compassion part.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because if you become really just passionate about your goal, and then other people become compassionate with your passion, they'll be more inclined to achieve those goals with you.
Yes.
But first and foremost, the first thing he said is defined as clear. So therefore, there is no confusion.
Right.
With the vision that the leader has set.
Absolutely.
It also comes with guidance. Mm-hmm. So the leader is very intentional about keeping people focused on that goal.
Yes.
And it has a strong core ideology.
Yes.
So no matter what the goal is, if you're passionate about it and you believe in it, odds are there's someone else in this world that believes it just as much as you do.
That will align with that.
That will align with that.
That's my jam too. I want to be in this.
So it's very important to be intentional about the people you're selecting to assist you with your goals.
Yes. See how intention just kind of like permeates the whole thing. Right.
Tim Herbert, he also said that it's responsive, not reactionary. Mm-hmm. Right. So we're constantly we're constantly getting in front of situations and not necessarily taking reaction all the time. We're being very proactive.
Yes.
Versus allowing things to happen and automatically having to have a response or having to be reactive towards a situation. That's something we probably already pre-planned is happening if we clearly broken apart our goal and understood what was actually required of the goal.
That part.
We can anticipate problems happening.
Correct.
with certain steps.
Why? Because there's a system that you put
Because
in
there's
place.
a system that you put in
The
place.
system always tells the truth. The system always tells you what's working and what is not working, right? And then it's also, recorded. You can go back and you can look and you can examine it. So that's why, again, you're saying it's responsive and not reactionary, because you can predict what's going to happen based on the system that's been in place.
And what I love about intentional leadership is that it's transformational.
Yes.
It's not transactional.
That's right.
It's always aiming to transform something. And when something needs transform, is oftentimes is to make it better.
Correct.
Right? And that's what systems are put in place and designed to do, to make things better.
Yes.
It's very rare that you're going to get into a system and become worse.
Unless it's just a bad system to begin with.
It's a bad system to begin with. But that can be determined based off of how many goals were not accomplished and how many people are worse off. Things like, okay, now the system is bad.
Right.
We need to change the system. I get that. But for the most part, most systems are designed, to transform and make things better, whether it's a product or service or a person.
Absolutely.
The system works.
The system works.
Follow the system.
Systems work, yes.
You know.
So what are some specific characteristics of an intentional leader?
Number one, be deliberate in your actions.
Yeah.
You have to be very deliberate in what it is that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be intentional about, number one, changing yourself so you become a better leader.
Right.
And so therefore people can see your passion, and therefore people can become compassionate about what it is you're trying to accomplish. And once you begin to take ownership of your own life in general as a leader and transform it for the betterment of everyone else, people will begin to see that.
Yes.
That's
the real trickle down effect,
It's absolutely
start with yourself.
Lead yourself first.
Yes.
Lead yourself first and be the change. Be the example. Mm-hmm. Be the transformation that you aim to deliver to everyone else. Mm-hmm. And once you do that, you will find exactly what it is you're passionate about. You'll find exactly what your goals are, because you're no longer confused. You no longer have worry. You no longer have a lot of fear, because you're very clear on what it is that you want to accomplish. And you understand exactly what it takes to get there.
That's right.
Because of the clarity that you have received from transforming yourself.
Yes.
So the first characteristic is being deliberate in your actions.
Yes.
What's the second one, MaryAnne?
The second one is ensuring your everyday actions align with a strong, well-articulated vision. So mean what you say, do what you're going to say,
Correct.
And don't mess around with that, right?
Correct. You can't transform your life and then go up tomorrow and do something completely different.
Correct.
And so that's
Correct. Why? Because that's not clear.
Correct. That's not clear. And that's why everyday actions must align with the absolute transformation of being intentional.
Absolutely. Yes.
I love it.
So let's talk about the steps to creating more intentionality. And we have already hit on the first one, and that's reflecting properly with self-awareness. So again, first leading yourself, right?
Wait, before you get into that, just a quick question.
Yeah.
What would happen if an intentional leader all of a sudden become unintentional? What would happen with the company?
Ooh. If an intentional leader suddenly becomes unintentional?
Yeah, if his everyday actions didn't align with his well-articulated vision, and if he wasn't deliberate with his actions, what would happen?
Well, depending on how intentional he was at the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if he was intentional at the beginning, then maybe other leaders would rise up and still be able to maintain and hold the values. But let's just say, no.
None of that happened.
None of that happened.
Okay.
So without intentional leadership, the team can lose confidence. To the company's goals, become less effective. They'll become, jaded, have an attitude a little bit to where it's just like, what is going on here, and then feeling like there's no well thought out plan, confusion, disengagement, and then ultimately you could lose a lot of really good people.
That sounds very chaotic to me.
Very chaotic. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
I would not want to be a part of that system.
No, nobody wants that.
Now, going back to what you were saying, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, that's okay.
What are some of the steps towards creating more intentionality?
Okay, so we hit on it earlier as far as reflecting properly with self-awareness, leading oneself, right? But then not only just leading yourself, but also taking account into what you have been doing as a leader, and then, how has it contributed to your team's success or the team's challenges.
Understood? Challenges.
Challenges. I don't know why I added an extra ES on that. It was
weird.
I know, totally. But anyway, so again, asking yourself these tough questions as a leader, what were your contributions? What did I do to enable success?
Right.
What did I contribute to the team? What do I what challenges did I contribute,
Yeah.
and then where can you identify the unintended results and then adjust accordingly so the system is running smoothly.
So the first step is self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
Properly self-aware. Make sure you're very aware of who you are as a person.
Yes.
That's like the first step, and I think in anything.
Yes. First, lead yourself.
Is take care of yourself first. Be the change. Be the standard.
Yeah. Standard bearer.
Yeah. Be the standard. Right.
Nice.
And number 2, intentionally develop yourself and your people.
Yes.
Once again, every day, aligning your actions
Right.
with the actual vision and purpose and the goals that you set forth.
And then also, you said a very, very key word here. Develop yourself. Develop is the word.
Correct.
Yourself and your people. Don't just put them out there and it's like work.
Oh,
They need development. They need coaching.
They're
They
people,
need
not horses.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. They need a plan, and they need an action plan in order to help them achieve
Right.
said goals, right? But you have to have that plan yourself in order to develop and impart into your team. So asking yourself, these questions, what do you want to achieve as a leader, right? Can help you develop this plan. What specifically does your team need from you, right? And then create concrete steps in order to achieve these and measure your ability to execute on these steps.
Right. Can intentionality be measured?
Absolutely, it can.
How do we quantify that? What do we do to quantify this to ensure that we are going on the right track?
Well, you can measure how intentional you are or you are not based on your results, right? So if you're going in, let's say, I want my team to produce, I want my team to have at least one home in escrow per week.
Sure.
All right. And so how am I going to get that? What does my team need? Do they need to understand the escrow process? Do they need to understand the closing process or, whatever they need. So sorry. But, and then you go in and you create a plan. It's like, okay, I know this person struggles with this. So I'm going to make sure that they have the tools that they need in order to be proficient at this.
Right.
And then so on and so forth. You do check-ins, you do checkups. You actually have the team like, hey, these are your goals for the week. I'm going to be checking in every week, and then I want to see how close we are to achieving said goals. So it's creating this system and then going back consistently with intention. It's like, how are you doing on your goals? All right. So let's talk about some things. What is it that you're struggling with?
Right.
Well, let's adjust. And then constantly working and perfecting that system, but then doing it with all, I think, for me, intentionality almost is interchangeable with commitment.
Right. I totally agree with you. And I love the way you're putting this as it relates to developing your team and have it being measured, because we know the quantified measure is what's going to really determine your success.
Right. And then
is the actual numbers.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. And
the
that's,
intention
getting
comes
all of the
in-
information to do that.
You're right. The intention comes in as a leader. As you built the system, like you said, if I wanted my team to have one escrow a week, and we very much built our company on that platform, is our system is holding you accountable to your goals, right? We as a company set a goal, right, based off of the goals of the actual real estate agents. We don't just take our goals and just come up with some random number.
Correct. No,
Right?
it was process.
It's very much a process based off of what the ability is of our team.
Yes.
And if our team collectively decided they can do 10, then we're going to say the company goal is 10, right? And we have built a system that has checks and balances for each individual agent to ensure they're meeting their part of the deal.
Right.
And myself and you as a leader, we have to constantly be intentional about holding them to that standard,
Yes.
the standard of which they set, because we develop them and groom them to meet their own standard.
So there's a lot of things that could be measured with intentionality. One, you as a leader, going in and making sure that your team is performing, in the way that they should, right? And that's based on how you've developed them and the tools that you've given them. And then also on the flip side, intentionality can be measured based on the results.
Yes. I love it.
All right.
That's meat and potatoes with my steak right there.
I like it.
You gave me the vegetables too.
It's a whole meal. We can stop there.
Right. And what's the third
But no,
step
we've
in
got
being
one
more
more.
intentional?
Yes. Intentionally develop your career.
I love
So
it.
nobody wants to follow a loser. I'm sorry. It's just what it is.
agree.
You got to keep developing yourself. You have to keep working on yourself and then building your own career. Why? because that gives people something to follow. It's like,
Correct.
Nobody's going to come in business with you if you are not doing your own business.
Correct.
You still have to perform. You still have to produce. Why?
Correct.
Monkey see, monkey do.
And you still
He can do it, I can do it.
You still got to be the standard.
Absolutely. Yes.
You
the
still
standard.
have to be the standard.
Yes.
And at no point should a team member can say they're outpacing you. And if they do, they need to be in a different role.
Yes.
You need to have them in front and people following them. And now you're creating more leaders.
Right.
And at that point, you have to do your job as a leader.
Absolutely. I mean, you just step your game up a little bit. But I mean, I think
for sure.
The intention really, you definitely want people to, well, I mean, me personally, I
want people to outpace me.
I would love it. I
would love for my team to outpace
me.
But
then we're going to compete. Like, okay, now it's a race.
That's going to be exciting. That'll be exciting. When a team member get that much drive, they say, I'm going to be better than the leader.
Yeah.
I'm going to be better than you. I'm like,
yeah.
I look at them and says, try it.
Okay.
Sure. I welcome you to it. You know what I mean? Because then it's going to be a dogfight.
Yes, because you're very competitive that.
Oh, for sure. You're not going to outwork me. You may be smarter than me, but you're not going to outwork me. And that's what it boils down to when it comes to intentionality is be willing to put in the work.
Yes.
Be willing to put in the work to get the desired results that you want for your career, for your team, for your company.
Yes.
It takes intentionality.
And a lot of work.
And a lot of work.
A lot of work. Working smart, not hard necessarily, but still hard work all the same.
Agreed.
What an amazing discussion.
It was absolutely phenomenal.
Yes. So we talked about how to be an intentional as a leader. And if you would like to know more about our offerings, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Atlas Leadership Academy. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. You can also click the notification bell for updates. Join us next week as we continue to dive into more leadership topics and help you become a better leader. If you'd like to have our show notes, please go to the link in our bio.